Okay, we'll call tonight's meeting to order, and if everyone would please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Fellow board members, I would ask for a motion to approve tonight's agenda with one change. I need item A under items for board action, move to the end of our board action items area, and to add the oath of office directly following it.
I make a motion to move board member applications to item J, and then the oath of office following that appointment.
I'll second.
We have an approved agenda. Board members, just as a heads up, when we get to, and our candidates as well, when we get to that section of the board meeting, we will ask our board member candidates to provide a statement. The board members will get to ask a question. We'll go around robin just like we usually do, so you have a little bit of time to think about your questions. And then we'll take a quick break so we can all kind of think about what we've heard. We'll reconvene, deliberate, and then vote. Okay, Dr. Hattrick, turning it over to you for the board, for your superintendent report. Oh, thanks.
I didn't do that.
Well, was there any objections? All those in voting to approve the agenda tonight, raise your hand. Excellent. Thank you. And now we have an approved agenda.
Perfect, thank you. Good evening, members of the board. In honor of the lives lost on September 11th, 2001, I'd like to begin my presentation with just a moment of silence in honor of those. Thank you. So I'm going to run through quite a few updates with the beginning of the school year. So first, start of the school year. For most of our students, school started last Wednesday. Mrs. Keplinger, during her time, is going to also update, provide additional details about staggered start and how that impacts other student groups. But also leading up to the start of the school year, the Rainier staff engaged in 6 days of preparation, which included targeted professional development, training on the new math curriculum, training on technology tools to assist with teaching and learning, an orientation meeting for new employees, and a kickoff with presentation from me on this year's goals, a welcome message from Dr. Placido on behalf of the board, and an inspirational message from Dr. Jacqueline Sanderlin. My presentation ended with the following expectations of all staff. First, lead learning. Second, assume positive intentions. Third, always do your best. Fourth, show up, work hard, and go home. 5, celebrate successes. 6, seek results. 7, be a positive role model. And 8, and possibly most importantly, have fun. Our staff did a great job during that week and also welcoming students back for the beginning of the school year. Next, I want to talk about staffing. Unlike last year, we started the school year with 99% fully staffed. Right now, we have 1 special education teacher vacancy remaining, and we're working every single angle possible to fill that as soon as possible. I also wanted to inform everybody that within the last 2 weeks, Midco Bus Company initiated a search to hire their new director of transportation. As soon as a director is hired, we will draft a notification to make any transportation-related announcements and to introduce the new director. So that should be coming in the coming days. Also, I had mentioned in a previous weekend report to the board about a book study. So the leadership team is modeling leading learning and studying a newly published book on school leadership titled Hardwiring Excellence in Education. I meant to bring my copy so I could hold it up, but that's okay. Oh, I see a volunteer. Thank you, Liz. I would like to facilitate a similar process with the board to ensure that we're talking the same language as it relates to school improvement and leadership this year. And we'll figure out kind of what that schedule looks like as we move forward. Safety, I also want to highlight a couple things around safety. So first, I want to publicly thank our safety committee for the work they did last year and the facility team for implementing some of their suggestions over the summer. You may have noticed that there are some new fences around campus. Those are to create an environment where students can walk between classes through the commons without fear of individuals who should not be on campus. Additionally, all doors to each school, with the exception of the front door, will remain locked. All visitors are welcome, but must check in at the front office. Next, the Title III, that's the English Language Learner Report. That was sent out to all board members last month, which is required in statute. The report's also available online if anyone would like to review our English Language Development Plan. This, therefore, will satisfy item 2D on the agenda. Next, the water mitigation project for HPE gym was completed this summer. Now we're simply waiting to assess the gym prior to making permanent repairs. We'll be monitoring for moisture as we enter into the rainy season. I'm sure nobody wants to hear about rain right now, but it's coming. And then finally, things that will be coming in future board meetings. District enrollment reports, the school's improvement plans. Due to the length of this agenda, we've moved the school improvement plan reports to next month's. And district longitudinal growth targets developed in partnership with Oregon Department of Education. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions board members may have.
Any board members have questions for Dr. Hetrick on his report? Liz?
How is the new math curriculum being received? I know we won't get results for it. It takes a while to get these new programs up and running.
I've heard positive things, so we'll go with that for right now. You bet.
Good news after what, 4 days, 3 days?
3, 4.
Aim high. Ms. Escher, do you have any questions? Mr. Schimmel?
I just heard some concerns with the new fencing around the area between the two buildings, and just the concern with if the safety and security of the students getting out from there if there was a danger inside the fenced area. So the capability of these students to exit that area is just as critical as keeping them protected from outside. And then also, we had talked about the fencing previously, and you had mentioned that we were going to do some landscaping around it to make it more appealing than just a barbed wire looking fence.
So currently there are no plans for vegetation around, so this was as quick as they could do it over the summer, but we can continue to look at that. Currently there are multiple access points from the inner commons, not access points, exit points from the inner commons, but we're also looking at enhancing those as well, so adding additional exit points. Yep, thank you.
Ms. Hendricks, did you have any questions?
I have none.
Mr. Weaver, did you have any questions? No, excellent. And so next, item B is the Healthy and Safe Schools Plan, an annual statement from Mr. Brown.
Okay, so this is the annual approval by the board for the HOS plan, Healthy and Safe Schools Plan, and the letter that'll go out to the Rainier community. The only update to the plan this year from last year was the addition of linking the new software that allows a more digestible format to access test results for the community. Reports on asbestos, radon, drinking water. This addition was paid for by the Asbestos Environmental Hazard Assessment Grant, which was a TAP grant, which the district was awarded. That also covered AHERA training and update inspections, and we're asking to approve the updated HOS plan and community letter that's attached in your board packets. Questions on that?
No, and I think it'll come up later as an agenda item. So, board members, are you comfortable holding your questions until that time? Or would you like to hit Mr. Brown with your questions now? No, I think we'll hear the presentation when we get to that.
Okay.
Thank you.
You bet.
And the finance report, Mrs. Collins.
Hello. The reports are in your board packets for finances. There's really not a lot of activity right now as we are just setting up the school year. We're processing our payroll, setting up all that as of right now. So this is just the beginnings of the year. We are also getting ready for audit. Our audit starts on Monday next week. So there's a lot of prep going in right now. Other than that, that's about all I have. Does anybody have any questions?
Board members, any questions? Ms. Usher?
Are we not reporting up on the ADM?
We don't even, I mean, we haven't even started the counts yet.
Okay, but in the.
Oh, yeah, it'll be in there
Okay,
going
just-
forward. It just,
just in the paper.
as of right now, there wasn't really too much to.
Okay, thanks. Other questions, board members? Nope, thank you. Good luck with your audit.
Oh,
Yep.
thank you.
I should say our audit. Good luck with our audit. Let's see, and you already provided the ELD report. Do you have anything else to say about that?
I do not.
Okay, the OSBA conference, November 9th through 11th, Dr. Hattrick?
So the OSBA conference is in Portland. The 9th is a pre-conference, and the regular conference is the 10th and 11th. So I wanted to just take this time to confirm from any of you, and obviously you can reach out to me later, but if you would like to be registered for that event, if you'd like to attend, it would be great to have a group represent Rainier at the conference. So November 10th and 11th.
So that's a Friday,
Friday, Saturday.
Saturday.
Yeah. Does anybody know right now if they would like to be attending that? Otherwise, I can text you or call you separately and poll the group. I'll do that. Is that a yes? Yes to poll or yes you want to? Okay, great. I think I know what we'll talk about then. Great. Thank you.
Okay, policy KG discussion, Dr. Hattrick.
All right, thank you. I'm going to read a prepared summary for those listening online and in the room. So during the month of July, I met with most board members to discuss their thoughts around policy KG, which is the community use of district facilities. This was done in response to previous requests to review the policy. The challenge to the policy has been whether or not to require groups to provide a certificate of insurance with their rental application. This has been in policy for quite some time and is also in district policies across the state of Oregon. Since becoming the superintendent at Rainier School District, I have made it a goal to adhere to policies developed by the board, and policy KG is no exception. In 2021, William White from WHA, our insurance agency, attended a board meeting and advised the board that this policy should be kept there are many issues around not requiring a certificate of insurance. Following all board member discussions, and I did provide the board with a summary document from those meetings, but following all board member discussions, I contacted our risk management consultant, who included their underwriter and director of risk management. I provided them with the questions raised by board members and forwarded him previous documents provided by WHA Insurance and PACE. I've included the response from risk management in your binder for your review, but I believe it can be summarized by reading the following passage. Without having your third-party vendors, clubs, organizations, individuals, etc., being required to carry their own liability insurance and providing that to the district is taking on an extreme level of risk. Remember, these policies are meant to protect the district, patrons, property, and personal protection. So at this time, I would turn the discussion over to the board to determine what, if any, next steps the board would like to see regarding policy KG, or answer any questions.
Okay, board members, I guess I'll go around the horn, see if you have any questions or suggestions for our next steps, if you have a preferred next step. Mr. Weaver?
There it is. There we go.
There you go.
Let's just stick with the policy
that on the people of this school district, the taxpayers.
Okay. Thank you. Mrs. Richardson, do you have any questions about the policy?
I don't have questions. I just feel as though when we went over this with Mr. White, it was very, very clear the risks that the district had been undertaking from, it was multifaceted, the risks. And I understand the pain to small clubs, but at the same time, the risks of not adhering to this policy set us up for major financial devastation.
Thank you, Ms. Richardson. Ms. Usher, any questions or comments? No? Mr. Schimmel?
The only thing I would like for us to continue to think about is like how many other scenarios as far as volunteers, coaches that we ask on a regular basis, if not every year, to sign a release of liability waiver. I would like to know what the difference of how come sometimes a release of liability is acceptable for the district, and in other avenues of the district, it's not acceptable, or it's not good enough for our insurance purposes and covering the district. I'm all for protecting the district as well, but I'm also trying to find ways to help our community. So.
Good questions. Ms. Hendricks?
I support the policy as written. I don't see any changes, and I've also looked online and for other school districts, and their policy is just similar to ours. So knowing that, I just feel that we need to continue the facility use and require the certificates of liability. It protects the district, it protects the staff, so I just don't think we should open ourselves up to that kind of liability.
I would agree. I think sticking with the policy, not necessarily as written, would be important. I think in the meeting that I participated in, we had discussed fee waivers, so making those clear and easy to access for people. We also talked about summer use of the facility and making that something that's more understandable and predictable for community members and people who want to use the building, as well as for school staff. And then it sounds like having a discussion or getting some more information about liability waivers would also be good. So I guess we could add those to a future work session maybe, or a board meeting.
Yeah, or I may even consider inviting our insurance agent again. It's a new one, but
Yeah.
so it'd be good for a Q&A.
Good.
Sure.
Thank you, board members. And now updates from the school leadership team. Mrs. Keplinger is first at bat.
Wait on. Okay. Good evening, everyone. I wanted to start by adding a little more detail about our staggered start. At Hudson Park, we've had a great start to the 23-24 school year. We're yet in the midst of our staggered start, where preschool and kindergarten students are working through assessment appointments this week. First and second grade students had a staggered start last week, and they all began school today. So we just have one more week with pre-K and K, and then we'll have everybody here. The purpose of the staggered start is to provide teachers with time to complete required state, grant, and school assessments, and to provide students with time to learn class and school routines and expectations in a smaller setting. Our back-to-school meet and greet We hosted last Tuesday, the night before the first day of school, for most students. We've had a really, really good turnout. The visitors included students, parents, and guardians, and a lot of siblings. This was really impressive, or the turnout was really impressive, considering that it's post-pandemic and in-person events are still evolving. So we were really excited about that. In other news, we're super excited to announce that we have eager parents and guardians and teachers who are in the process of revitalizing the parent-teacher organization, the PTO, which has been in silent for a few years, primarily due to the pandemic. The first PTO meeting is set for Tuesday, September 26th in the Commons, with a meet and greet at 5:30, and the actual meeting is from 6 to 7. The PTO is working to secure childcare provided by high school students during the meetings. And for any questions, you can email info@hpepto.org. So info@hpepto.org, or visit their new website, which is hpepto.org. We continue to work to align our school goals to the district goals. As part of increasing student success, we monitor students' progress regularly to ensure that instruction meets students' individual needs. Instruction and interventions are closely aligned with the Common Core state standards and our district-adopted curriculum. Our school improvement plan, which I'll share at another time, outlines specific goals in reading, math, and behavior, along with action steps to work toward meeting those goals. We are also moving forward with inclusion of our special education students. Many students are now starting their day in the general education classroom, participating in morning meeting, specials like PE, fine arts, music, library, recess, and lunch, all with our homeroom and gen ed peers. The goal is to continue to increase students' time in the general education setting, but that's definitely a process, and it's determined based on individual student need. And then our overall goal is to ensure academic excellence and close the achievement gap for all students. We continue to strive to make our school a safe and welcoming place for all. Through our kindness initiative, we have included Wellness Wednesdays again in the master schedule this year. We started that last year. All students will participate in a 45-minute social emotional lesson every Wednesday. And I'm excited to announce that it will be taught this year with our newly adopted Character Strong curriculum. I'll give you a little description about what that includes. So the Character Strong curriculum is a social emotional curriculum that is designed to teach and integrate social skills, emotional regulation, and character development. Character traits are taught alongside pro-social behaviors, executive functioning, and emotion regulation skills. And then all of this is designed to lead students to the following 3 outcomes: be kind, be strong, be well. And along those lines, at HPE, we recognize student success in many different ways. And new this year, and in alignment with our new social emotional curriculum, we will be implementing Student of the Month. I'm super, super excited about that. So each month we will recognize students, 1 student per classroom, who consistently exhibits the character trait that month, which includes, so September is respect, and then I'll list the others quickly: responsibility, gratitude, empathy, perseverance, honesty, cooperation, courage, and creativity. And ultimately, it is our goal that every student feels safe, welcome, and can experience personal growth as a learner at Hudson Park. And then finally, we will be forming a family advisory committee at the Hudson Park at the school level. Dr. Hattrick has worked on that at a district level. The role of the family advisory committee will be to offer a structured way for families to provide feedback, solutions, and ideas for improving the school. And we're working collaboratively as a district to create an application that can channel multiple committees. And so that's in progress, and hopefully that will be sent out sooner than later. So are there any questions, comments, feedback?
Board members, any questions? Mr. Weaver? Ms. Richardson, Ms. Usher, Mr. Shell, Ms. Hendricks. Excellent. Have a great year.
Thank you.
Yep.
I'm super excited. So,
And Mr. Williams.
And Mr. Williams will be presenting for both he and Mr. Miller, as Mr. Miller is doing his athletic director duties at the time. So thank you.
Good evening. I've been asked to provide a report regarding the beginning of the school year, and so here I am providing this said report. The 23-24 school year is off to a rip-roaring start. Anytime I can get rip-roaring into a sentence, I use it. Probably the most exciting and biggest news is that with the exception of one special education position, we're fully staffed at the secondary level. Dr. Hattrick actually kind of stole a little bit of my thunder by going through some of my report.
Stole a lot of your
Yeah, you did actually, which is cool. That's awesome, you know. But I'm really super excited about our fully staffed PE department. We have 2 dynamic young PE teachers who have actually been trained as PE teachers. And if you go down and you watch PE taking place, it looks like a PE classroom where they're doing units, they're moving around, kids are moving, they're dressing down, a novel thought. They won't always be wearing the same stinky clothes all day long, which will be great on these hot days with the non-air conditioned classrooms. That's awesome. We love that. Also, very excited about our art teacher that we hired, highly qualified in multiple. He has 3D and 4D art, computer art, graphic design, plus the traditional art forms. Plus, he's also teaching some computer application stuff. I mean, we're fortunate to get Mr. Vargas. It's outstanding. Our NCA positions we filled, although you can't replace who we lost with Ms. Wilkerson and Mr. Elliott. I'm very excited to have Ms. Dumichel and Ms. Miller down there doing the job. They both have a passion for the students, and I think they're going to do some great things. But the best part is filling that all these positions have meant that Ms. Gibson, our permanent guest teacher that we hired, can actually be a guest teacher, and she's not stuck in the classroom. And even the better part is that Mr. Miller, Mr. Fugier, and myself are not teaching algebra, and we're not teaching health, and we're not teaching art. We're actually able to do our job. So that's great. It's been awesome. It's been a great start there. Now, obviously, there's been some very visible changes to the campus, which Dr. Hattrick mentioned, security fencing, limited entry points, alarms on the emergency doors, etc. And obviously made in the interest of student safety. And multiple community surveys have shown that student safety is the #1 priority. And so that's what these are. And like Mr. Schimmel said, I think we're in a constant process of improvement trying to make things better, because there's some ideas out there that we want to, because we are not a prison. We're not trying to keep folks in. We just want to make sure that people who aren't supposed to be there, stay out. A couple of changes that aren't as visible, but they're still going on. We've increased some time in classes, cutting down some of the passing time. Noticing last year that we had a lot of issues during those longer passing periods, so we've cut that down a little bit. I did the math myself by starting at the very bottom by the pool and walking myself all the way to the CTE building. And if I can do it I'm not in shape, but I am in shape because round is a shape. So, but if I can make it in 4 minutes, those younger than me can also make it in 4 minutes. So that's very exciting. We have some new handbook language that's dealing with some of our biggest issues. We have the new math curriculum, which I'm excited to see what that does when we do that. And I promise you that Ms. Kepling and I did not compare notes. We did not start this thing, but another exciting change will be the advent of a new Student of the Month program at the high school. Okay, we did not confer beforehand, and she's a lot more prepared because she has all her characters and qualities right now. And I don't know if I'm going to piggyback on that. We'll just do that district-wide, or if I'm going to do our own. But it's a bit of the backstory. Partway through last year, the 9th grade success team decided to start giving a Student of the Month awards to freshmen who typified specific positive character traits. If you remember, our school improvement plan was a lot about freshmen on track to graduate rates. And we found actually that we had a lot of positive results by doing this. So the effort was successful enough that we have decided to expand it with students in each grade getting awarded each month. Included with the standard certificate and recognition will be prizes, with all the students of the month being entered into the raffle for a large prize at the end of the year. In addition to Student of the Month recognition, we're looking to reward perfect and near perfect attenders, as well as students caught doing right. We have some great kids here in Rainier, and we want to find a way to reward them for being great. Shifting gears slightly, RJSHS is always looking for new ways to strengthen community partnerships. One of our biggest ongoing partnerships is with Inroads Community Credit Union. Through Inroads' Team Up for Schools program, and that's where you sign up through Inroads and you get the Rainier Columbians debit card. Every time you swipe that debit card, a portion goes into, and we get some money for that. Through Inroads' Team Up for Schools program, RJSHS was presented with a check for $11,435.20. Not bad. Money will go towards funding the end-of-the-year spirit trip, as well as student attendance incentive, the Student of the Month prizes, and possibly we're looking to help fund new scoreboards for softball and for baseball. If you haven't been down there, we're looking a little rough. Let's see if we can kind of clean up a few things. Very proud to have our partnership with Inroads, and we look forward to continuing to work with them into the future. Exciting upcoming RJSH events include the OMEA Developing Band Festival on September 16th, the History Bowl Team fundraiser at Panda Express on September 20th. Talk to Mr. Demko if you want details. The RJSHS Back to School Night will take place on September 21st from 3:30 to 5:30. More word will be going out about that later in the week. We have a Marine Sciences field trip on September 26th to the Columbia River Maritime Museum. And the FFA Leadership Camp on September 29th. FFA Leadership Camp will take place on September 29th and 30th at Camp Cedar Ridge. Finally, in the interest of improving communication, I will be endeavoring to put out a principal's letter at the beginning of each month. This letter will include scheduled major events, as well as highlight the character quality we will be focusing on each month, in addition to recognizing our outstanding students. Are there any questions?
Any questions for Mr. Williams? Goodness gracious, see, I'm looking at Mr. Weaver, and that's all I could think. Mr. Weaver.
Okay, I don't like that thing. When's back to school?
Back to school night is September 21st.
September 21st.
It's a Thursday, I believe.
Next Thursday.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Richardson? Ms. Usher?
Just a quick question on the Student of the Month. Does that include middle school as
Yes.
well? Okay, thanks.
It'll probably be one 7th or 8th grade, probably not one in 7th, one in 8th. It'll be one junior high student, just like there'll be one freshman, one sophomore, one junior, one senior.
Okay, thanks.
Mr. Schimmel? Ms. Hendricks? I just wanted to amplify your line, great kids in Rainier.
Yeah.
There are. Thanks. Exciting report.
Okay, now,
You want to be Mr. Miller now?
and now, I'm presenting the report for Greg. I can't do it.
Yeah.
I can't.
It'd be a long report.
Okay, the school's been in session for less than a week. Our fall athletics are in full swing. It's a sports pun there, full swing. After a jamboree in Sutherland and games at Scio and Nissa, our Road Warrior football team is finally playing at home this week against Banks. That's a long drive, let me tell you, that drive to Nissa.
Really?
I bet you probably know. Other upcoming home games include Valley Catholic on the 22nd of September, Harrisburg on October 6th, and Warrenton on October 20th. This is one of those seasons where when you play 9 games, you're always going to have an odd number and an even number. We have only 4 home games this time. Next year, that means we had 5. Last year we had 5. We'll be 5 and 4. Volleyball is into their league season with future home contests on September 21st versus Warrenton, September 26th versus Banks, October 3rd versus YC, that's Yamhill Carlton, October 10th versus Neocon, October 12th versus Corbett. Soccer is starting their league season on September 20th versus Seaside, and the other home contests include Astoria on the 26th of September, Tillamook on October 5th, Scappoose on October 17th, and St. Helens on October 19th. Now, if you notice, those schools are all larger than us. If you weren't aware, we have a co-op with Klatskanai for soccer. Now, what they always say it does when you co-op, they take the combined populations of the schools, and that's the classification they put you in. So we are in the 4A, we're in the 4A classification for soccer, which actually isn't a bad thing because the 3A group that we'd be in has a lot of super power soccer, Oregon Episcopal, Catlin Gable, those sorts of things. So we actually have a better shot at the 4A level. And we're already 2-2 this season. The soccer team's having an outstanding season and very bright future coming ahead. But remember, if you're interested in watching soccer, check the school calendar because we play home games at 2 places. We play, half of the games are played at the Klatskanai Community Park, and the other half are played up here behind the softball field. The location is on the school calendar. You scroll in there and you find it. It'll say where we are playing at. Also, you can check the osaa.org schedule website. They have the schedules up there and they're up to date. Or when in doubt, just call the school and Janice or Georgiana or Mr. Miller or myself can help you up there. Finally, cross country is in the thick of their season with our Rainier Invitational Meet taking place on Saturday, October 14th. If you've never watched a cross country race, kind of fun. Stand in one spot and watch them go by, and maybe they go by again, or you go to a different spot and watch them go by. It's kind of a thing. Participation numbers have been strong for all of our high school teams, and there's an air of excitement surrounding our teams. But with school starting just last week, junior high sports are just getting underway. Keep an eye on the school calendar and website for contest days and times. As soon as we have those schedules, I'll be putting them on the calendar, and word will be going out. Finally, homecoming week, scheduled for the week of October 2nd. In addition to the home volleyball game on October 3rd and the home soccer game on October 5th and the home football game on October 6th, the school leadership class and administration are very excited about some new additions to homecoming traditions. More details will follow, so be on the lookout, but we are looking at the feasibility of doing actually a parade with the homecoming floats instead of just having them around the track on that Friday night, looking at doing some community stuff, get some community involvement. Are there any questions pertaining to athletics that I can answer?
Mr. Weaver, any questions?
Is soccer men's, women, or co-ed?
It is women's. We are sponsoring as a women's sport.
Ms.
No,
Richardson? Mr. Schimmel?
I know there's a lot of community members that would really like to attend activities, and I was just wondering who's in charge of the social media, getting information out as far as not just sports, but like the FFA, the band events.
A lot of the programs have their own pages that they use. We also have a school district Facebook page, a Rainier High School specific, and I believe HB, you have your own too, right? Mr. Miller at the high school is for the high school page.
Okay.
He kind of handles that. And that's the main social media that we use is Facebook.
Okay. Thank you.
Ms. Hendricks?
No, I have nothing.
Nothing for me. Thank you very much, Mr. Miller.
I like it. You have me there.
You did such a good job of impersonating him. Okay, so rolling into public comment. Tonight's meeting is designed to keep presentation and deliberations efficient and effective. The board will not comment, but will listen only. They may choose to call your name for public testimony at the end of the meeting if your topic is a non-agenda item. The board may choose not to address your request if your topic is outside the scope of the board's governance. We ask that you remember Oregon law prohibits us from discussing specific employees or your job performance. If you wish to speak tonight, you should have completed a public comment form prior to the meeting. There are the pink forms at the back of the table. Do we have any public comment tonight? None? Okay. And moving to the consent agenda. The consent agenda consists of items that we consider and approve with a single vote. Do I have any motion on the consent agenda?
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I can second it.
Excellent. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the motion to approve the consent agenda, raise your hand. Okay, that passes unanimously. And now we're moving into the board action items. I am not renumbering everything, so we're going to pretend like A is non-existent and go with B, superintendent goals.
All right. So in your board packet, you'll see a document that I've compiled that combines the 23-24 district, board, and superintendent goals. And you'll see that I kept the headings for the superintendent goals the same as the district goals, which are increased student success, academic excellence, and safe and inclusive climate. But I operationalize those kind of to a deeper level. So that is there for your review. Additionally, the third page spells out important dates, especially around evaluation check-ins. So please pay attention to the third page as well, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Dr.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Mr. Weaver, did you have any questions? No? Ms. Richardson?
Dr. Hatrick, would you prefer board members meeting for the one-on-ones to be groups of us or individuals? What would be,
I have no preference. What we have learned, though, is the group ones are nearly impossible to facilitate. So, if two of you have similar schedules that you want to reach out to Shalana to schedule a group one, that would be wonderful. But I'm happy to do it either way.
okay, thank you.
Ms. Usher? Mr. Schimmel?
I just kind of want to know an idea as far as like how formal or informal are the check-ins going to be for, you know, October, November, January. Obviously, your evaluation at the end of the year is very formal. So are we going to have like an executive session following the evaluation, or?
So each of those dates, so October 9th board meeting, November 13th, January 8th, and February 5th will all be, I'll be presenting a review in executive session for the board.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Ms. Hendricks?
I have nothing.
I have no questions. I just want to verify that these are already approved by the board. You don't need a motion tonight?
No, I would like a motion to approve the superintendent goals.
Oh, okay.
The first page
Excellent.
is approved, the second is not.
Second page is on.
No, the superintendent goals.
Yeah. So I need a motion to approve the table that's in blue on the second page.
I make a motion to approve the superintendent goals. Just one minute.
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? I'm seeing nobody looking at me like they have anything else to ask. Okay, excellent. So all those in favor of approving the superintendent goals, raise your hand. No opposed. That passes. Somebody just got some email. Let's see. Item C, board work session calendar, which is on the next page in your board packet. So let's go ahead and entertain a motion for approval of the agenda, and then we can ask any questions.
Of the dates?
Yep.
Okay. You said agenda.
I mean, yeah, the dates. Woo, the agenda of these. How about that? Long day. It's a very Monday.
I make a motion to approve the dates for board work sessions.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Does anybody have any questions? Oh, we have to fill in these dates. Okay, never mind. No, yes.
I deleted September.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Whew. I'm seeing all these blank dates here. Okay. Are there questions about any of the dates? Has anybody looked at their calendars to make sure that these work for them? No.
Are we just looking at the work session dates?
Yeah.
We're ignoring the rest of the page, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we were all getting confused by the same thing. Okay. I'm seeing nothing. So all those in favor of approving the work session dates, October, January, February, and April, raise your hand. Okay. And no opposed. And you don't need, we're going to save these for a future discussion?
Correct.
Okay.
Trying to save paper.
It was very confusing. And now we have Mr. Brown back to talk about LEA designee and AHIRA compliance.
I brought a big page today. So as part of our work to ensure the district is in compliance with all the regulatory requirements as it pertains to the facilities, we found the need to address the compliance issues as it relates to asbestos management in schools. Under the AHERA regulation, the EPA requires the local education agency, or LEA, to assign a designated person to ensure the general responsibilities of the LEA are met under 40 CFR 763.84. In March, I attended a 3-day asbestos inspector course, as well as a 2-day management planner course. Both of these courses have an annual renewal to retain the accreditation. I took these courses to ensure that I had the knowledge and proper accreditation to fulfill the position for the district and ensure we are in compliance with the HERA regulations. As of now, we've fulfilled all the other requirements to be in compliance, including staff training, updated and current management plans, survey reports, and reinspection reports, with the final step being the board to vote to assign a designee, which is what we're asking for tonight. Questions?
Okay, so I'll take a motion and we'll have discussion.
I make a motion to designate Boyd Brown as our lead LEA designee for the school district.
I'll second it.
Excellent, we have a motion and a second. Board members, do you have any questions? Mr. Weaver? Ms. Richardson? Ms. Usher? Mr. Schimmel?
Just moving forward, is there like a annual training that you have to go to?
Yes, yeah, I will have to keep up on both the management planner as well as the inspector courses annually.
Thanks.
I have no questions.
And no questions for me. Hearing no other questions, all those in favor of approving the motion to designate Boyd Brown as our LEA designee for the district, raise your hand. Excellent, no opposed, that carries. And I guess you're gonna be up there for a while, huh?
Right.
So, item E, the boiler replacement, Mr. Brown?
Okay, so our boiler has reached the extent of its service life. We've had technicians out several times to troubleshoot. My team and I have spent more hours than I can track fighting to keep the boiler running. On weekends and after hours, it's become the norm for the maintenance staff, when anyone is passing the district, to stop by and check the boiler and restart it if necessary. And for all the money and time we've spent, as of today, the boiler will run anywhere between 100 and 300 times per start. On any given work day, we could have to restart the boiler between 8 and 10 times. To give perspective on the boiler, we have a single boiler that supplies domestic heating water for the whole campus. It also, it also heats the pool, and in many ways it's the heart of our facility. Without the running boiler, we have no hot water for kitchen, hand washing, showers. Our air handling units blow ambient temperature air, and our pool will eventually fall to the ground temperature. For those of you that haven't heard this before, and to kind of stress the time we've taken, myself and Mr. Jim Knox have spent overnights on the campus two winters ago, sleeping here to restart the boiler hourly so that we didn't lose temperature in the wintertime. We've fought the good fight, but we're losing. So we're coming to the board today to request the approval to move forward in having the boiler replaced. We are asking that you approve us using up to $300,000 towards this replacement, following the policy required bidding process. I've been working currently, over the last couple months, trying to get some bids. I currently have 2 bids, and I have copies of them. I included it, yeah. Sorry. So the one that we included in your packet, since my second bid, the company that we talked to does not install themselves. I asked BCS, which was the bid I included in your packet, to kind of revamp their bid to show both what the difference in cost was between installation and product, so that we had an apples to apples comparison on the two bids currently. I'm continuing to work to find another company to provide us with another apples to apples bid, but with your approval, we'll use we'll use the three bids to select the best fit for the district within that budget of $300,000 to get this much needed update underway.
And if I could also add, this would fall under a capital improvement line item in the budget.
Thank you for that, Mr. Brown and Dr. Hattrick. So, as per usual, if you'd like to make a motion, and then we will have discussion.
Is it starting the bidding process for?
Yeah, so,
How to
yep,
word it, that's
yep,
what I'm looking
yep.
for. I make a
Should-
motion to approve the starting of the bidding process to replace Rainier School District's boiler.
Could you amend your motion to include the $300,000 ceiling,
Oh,
please?
sorry, yes.
Maximum.
Amending that to include the $300,000 limit.
Yep.
Great.
A second?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Now, going around the horn, Mr. Weaver.
All right. Capable of firing on natural gas or liquid propane. What happens if they say you can't use natural gas no more? Then what do you do?
That's a great question.
Here's your mic.
Yeah, sorry, boss. Natural gas. What happens if?
Right. It's a great question, and one we face right now. I mean, if they say we can't run natural gas currently, we're kind of in the same situation. That's what our boiler runs on currently.
Well, let's build it quick before they change their mind. Okay?
We're just waiting on a vote.
I say yes.
Ms. Richardson?
Nothing at this time. Thank you.
Ms. Usher?
So, going over some of the bids, the exclusions part, will that 300,000 cover the stuff that's excluded from these bids?
Or which one are you looking at?
Well, I mean, I was just, the original one that was sent in was, exclusion, demo of any material, high in controls voltage, fire rating of the boiler room, roofing if needed, water balancing out of the, that stuff, like.
Right. Yes. We've left ourselves some headroom in there, and most of the things that are listed there aren't listed on one of our other bids. So, but yes, we do have plenty of room
Okay,
put in there for that.
thank you.
Mr. Schimmel?
I just remember, was it earlier this year that we invested like 60,000+ into the boiler? That was
2024, I believe, 24,000 for
Okay.
the retube. Yeah.
okay. And is that part of what's failing?
No, unfortunately, it's not. That's kind of the downside to where we're at with this boiler is we're basically chasing problem after problem after problem, and it's not getting any better. And being a 1999 boiler that on a normal running day can run anywhere between 150 to 320 times. A 1999 boiler has been running a lot.
Yeah.
So we're just to the end of that life cycle on that unit.
Yeah, I just wanted to be clear for everybody that, what we spent previously
Right. Yep.
isn't the problem.
Yep. Nope.
And then the capital improvement coming from there, like, what was our budget for capital improvement?
406,000.
406, okay. Thank you.
Ms. Hendricks?
I think we should move forward and get this boiler replaced. Winter's coming along, and we need to keep those classrooms heated.
Right.
I had a couple questions. One was the BCS bid. It looks like their bid dropped like $30,000. What's the difference between the first one and the second one?
He actually, I got this shortly before I finished my work day.
Oh, okay.
But he said he was able to rework some of the numbers, and then he talked to his vendor that supplies the actual boilers and was able to get some breaks there.
Okay.
So,
And then in the Hurley, it looks like J.H. Kelly bid. They call out that 4 to 12 weeks lead time is needed depending on the boiler selected, which
That's-
puts us like,
bad.
Yeah.
A long
Yeah.
ways out. And that stands for BCS as well.
Okay.
It's kind of the lead time that's out there right now for boilers.
I guess we better hurry up and vote then, huh? Wow, you got them on like speed dial so you can call up and get that thing ordered?
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions, board members? Ms. Richardson? No?
Yes,
Mike.
Sorry, I just got a confirmation from my husband is employed right now by J.H. Kelly. He's not in their Longview office, he's working for them out in Hillsborough and Beaverton. I'm just stating, that's the contractor he's currently working for as an electrician.
Thank you for declaring that.
Thank you, I was trying to make sure, because I couldn't remember.
Any other questions or comments? Dr. Hattrick, did you have anything else you wanted to add?
Nothing further, but I would love to keep the facility team out of the cold this winter.
Let's keep
Literally.
everybody out of the cold this winter. And no sleeping in the building overnight just to restart the boiler. Okay, so all those in favor of approving the motion to go out for bids and award the best option for the district up to a $300,000 limit, raise your hand, please. And it looks like all in favor and no opposed.
Thank you.
you, Mr. Brown.
Thank you.
And since you love talking to us so much tonight, why don't you do it again?
Okay, one last time. Oh, two, that's right, I forgot. Yeah, sorry. Yep. So this one is district vehicles?
This is the Haas annual plan and statement.
Which you probably don't need to present anything
Yeah,
further.
yeah.
Mr. Brown's already presented it
Yep.
during reports.
Perfect. Did anybody have any questions about that, the Healthy and Safe Students plan? None?
I
Excellent.
just have a really
Oh,
quick question
go ahead,
about
Ms.
the
Escher.
test results to be able to find. They will be posted on the
Yeah, so you can
Web
actually,
page.
you can actually go to the Healthy and Safe Schools plan, and there's a hyperlink right there. You can just click on that, takes you right to it.
perfect. Thanks.
Yep.
And then finally, I think we're at Mr. Brown's last. Oh, we do? Oh, we do have to approve it, don't we? Darn it. We've talked about it twice. Okay. I need a motion.
I'll make it. Make a motion to approve the updated 2023-2024 Haas Plan and Annual Statement.
I'll second.
Any questions? Since 30 seconds ago? Excellent. Okay, so all those in favor of approving the motion? Raise your hand. Okay, motion carries. Now we're moving along. Vehicle sale and purchase. And board members, before we start jumping into motions after Mr. Brown finishes his presentation, we need to have two separate motions. One for the disposal of excess property, and the second for the authorization to purchase. So just keep that in the back of your mind when you're jumping to make the motion. Go ahead, floor's yours.
Okay, so as seen on the provided list, our fleet of vehicles for the most part is 2 decades old. They came to us used and are at this point reaching the point of being a safety concern. Our hope is to purge the old inventory, to reduce the cost of maintenance as well as insurance. Purchasing 2 UTV vehicles for use on the campus for daily service and repair work. These vehicles will allow us to move more freely around the campus at a lower cost, even into areas that normal service trucks won't fit. with a lower operating and service cost, and with the added benefit of not having to insure them like a normal on-road vehicle. The second purchase would be 2 9-passenger SUVs for both district and athletic use. These vehicles would allow us to transport teams or groups to events while not requiring special licensing. On the other hand, they are still usable to send teachers or several staff members to a training. Although the initial thought was to pursue vans for this purpose, passenger vans are both hard to come by and dramatically more expensive, as they are more of a built-to-order product. Not to mention the passenger limitations and licensing, as well as some safety concerns when it comes to insurance. Bearing that all in mind, we think the SUV option fills the need. We are asking you to approve moving forward with purging our old vehicles and replacing them with a spending budget of up to $180,000 following procurement policy and accepting the best fit bid for the district.
Great. Board members, let's go ahead and consider the surplus property list first. I take a motion on that, and then we can discuss.
I'll make a motion for moving forward with disposal of excess property from Rainier School District. Do I need to specify the vehicles specifically?
Nope, they're on the list.
Okay.
I second.
Okay, so questions. Mr. Weaver, any questions? Remember your mic. No questions. Excellent. Ms. Richardson? Ms. Usher? Mr. Schimmel? Ms. Hendricks? And it looks like the list has whether you're going to keep them or get rid of them?
Yep.
Perfect. So there's a couple that you're going to
That
keep?
we'll still keep. They're still in usable condition currently.
So you have the box van here on the keeping list, but then you have a note that says no longer safe. So why are we keeping it?
So when I turned this in was prior to our last box van adventure where it stranded a group.
Okay,
And
so I can scratch that keep out? Okay, everybody
that'd
catch
be
that?
great.
That means get rid of it. Okay, perfect. Okay, any other questions? We're just voting on the disposal, the excess property list. Okay, so all those in favor of approving the excess property list for disposal of district vehicles, raise your hand. None opposed. Excellent. Okay, and now a motion about the vehicles.
I would like to make a motion to go forward on bid to purchase, award the best option for the district for 2 passenger or district vehicles, 2 maintenance vehicles, and I'd like to also add a box truck to the list for this motion. And I'm not sure what dollar amount that needs to be. But I would like the box truck to be on the motion to approve.
Okay. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. So, in a break from regular order, I think we're maybe throwing something surprising at you. It happens
It'll
once
add
in a
some
while.
spice.
Once in a
What
while,
are
it's
we
no big
gonna
deal. So it looks like you've got some like hard numbers you can probably talk to us about on this.
Right.
And then possibly a second bid that you would have to get numbers for the box truck.
So the box truck, I would have to basically do some research. I would have to, get a little more information if we're seeking a new box truck, if we would be seeking a used in good condition box truck, or kind of what our scope would be there of what we would be looking for.
Okay. So probably can't speak with a whole lot of authority on the
Not
whole
with a
box
lot
truck
of
thing
certainty
tonight?
on the box truck right
Okay.
now, no.
Okay. So we'll go around. Anybody with questions? Mr. Weaver?
There, they will go again. There, Rich. Yeah.
What's the box truck for?
What do we use it for? Oh, here we go.
Currently, the maintenance department isn't using it. We haven't used it in roughly a year. It was used in the past for picking up some supplies as needed. It does get used a lot for different groups to do like clothing drives, can drives, things of that nature.
Okay, thank you.
So.
Ms. Richardson? Ms. Usher?
I have a couple of questions. How many UTVs does a district have currently?
Currently, we have one.
One.
Yeah, it's a.
And then, are we able to get, the bids that we have here are for, 2 Chevy Suburbans. Is there any way we could get bids for, compare van cost?
I can look into getting bids for. So you're looking for passenger passenger vans
Compared to
compare in a comparative rate.
Cost-wise.
I can definitely look into them.
I was just, okay.
I know the last time we tried to get any information on vans, I was told you might be able to get a van in 2024 if it's a cargo van.
Yeah, and it was kind of without all vehicles at that time too.
Right, right.
And then, also on the UTVs, is there any way, because I know, Polaris, is there other brands that we could get bids on, compare costs? Because
Yeah.
Polaris is one of the top of the line.
Sure. But the reason we went Polaris is because they had the full cab options and still had a heater. So in the mornings when it's 30 degrees outside, we can still defrost the windshields. So, and a lot of them didn't have the full cab option from the manufacturer. So,
And then, so with the passenger vans, even if, don't you have to have a type 10 activity driver license, even if it's, up to 10 passengers, 10 and less?
so under 10, my understanding is no.
Okay. I think that was all my question. Thank you.
Mr. Schimmel?
Okay, just to kind of follow up with the question of what we use the box truck for, on occasion, the maintenance has used it. But also, a lot of programs don't even know we have it as an option to use. But the programs that do know it's available up till the time that they deemed it unsafe, which I agree with. That's why I'm making it part of my motion to replace, because I see the value in it. We've had multiple programs in the school district that have taken full advantage of it, and raised a total, and this total is probably a low ball of $25,000 over a number of years, obviously. But I know cheerleading has done closed drives multiple times per year, with an estimated total of $6,000 over 6 years. The softball programs has also used it for closed drive, totaling an estimated $14,000 over the years. The senior parents have used it for bottle returns, and estimated at the 2021 class and 2023 class, a total of $3,500 of fundraising. The girls' basketball program has used it for collecting wreaths for their fundraiser this last year, and that brought in $2,600. And again, comments made from some groups, they didn't even know we had one. And one parent who has used it said that if it was safer, she would use it more often. She at one point I had to drive the truck because I had the experience with it. Yeah, if this thing was user friendly, safe, the capability of our programs to fundraise is there. And if we didn't have it, one group almost had to forfeit their fundraiser a month or so ago when this was deemed unsafe. And they were having to scrap to figure out how many cars they needed to take this material to this fundraiser. And again, every trip could be anywhere between $700 to $1,000. And that's just a one-day event. So I feel like the value's there for our district to relieve some pressure off of our budgets for these programs, for athletics and extra co-curricular. I mean, there's a lot of opportunities for multiple groups to use this that don't even know we have it. So.
Ms. Hendricks?
I'm not opposed to getting bids for the box trucks, but I'm concerned about not moving forward on the maintenance vehicles. I mean, winter's coming up, and I mean, we need vehicles. And I'd like to see us go forward with, a van or a Suburban or something that the sports teams can use, as well as the school district.
So I'm going to kind of echo Ms. Hendricks. The ceiling that was presented by the district was $180,000 for the 2 district vehicles and 2 maintenance UTVs. And we've left that ceiling out, rolling in another bid request for a box truck. I would ask maybe that our motioner and our seconder consider revising their motion to ask the facilities, Mr. Boyd, to consider a second bid process, so we're not holding up those district vehicles and the 2 UTVs. And we can get those moving down the pipeline with that approved $180,000 cap. And then take the box truck as its own monster. Who made that motion?
Do we need to probably do that? Do we need to make a motion to have the sewer bid for a box truck?
Yeah, you have to have a bid. Yeah. Yep.
Point of order, though, would it be the case that it would be the board just directing staff to do the research, not necessarily, it wouldn't need a formal motion, though, right?
Well, we have to have a
Or I
motion
guess to
now
do the
because it
bid.
was all rolled in together.
Got it.
Yeah, so now we're kind of like severing that part. We're revising the motion to remove the box truck and have a separate process for the box truck. Bid process, I'm assuming, research and bid process. If that's Mr. Schimmel's.
All right, I'll amend my motion to take out the box truck for this purpose of approving this motion. I agree that the passenger vehicles need to be ordered as soon as possible for activities that are coming up. So with that in mind, I amend my motion to approve to go out for bid for the purchase and award to the best option of the district for 2 district vehicles and 2 maintenance UTVs with a cap of $180,000.
I'll second that.
Okay, so we have the amended motion. We have to approve that first. That becomes our grand motion, and we approve it again. So all those in favor of approving?
Quick question.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
About the funding, where the funding is coming from for the vehicles.
Great question. So our first attempt is going to be ESSER, especially for the student transportation. And then we have a $100,000 transfer in transportation from the budget. So the hope is that ESSER will take care of some so that we don't exhaust the entire transportation transfer.
Great question. Was there any other questions before we vote on that amended motion? No? Okay, so our amended motion is to remove the box truck from this portion and to proceed with the 2 district vehicles and 2 maintenance UTVs with a cap of 180. All those in favor of that motion, raise your hand. Okay, it looks like no opposed, so that carries. Any other discussion? It seems kind of weird. We have amended motion that it becomes our motion. Yeah. So is there further discussion now that we've amended the motion to remove the box truck? This is like painful, isn't it?
Eric, I got a 20-foot trailer, I'll let you take it anytime. Okay? I'll even deliver it to whatever fundraiser they're doing, I don't do nothing. So, if you need help, let me know.
Is it fully enclosed?
Fully enclosed. I ain't hauling no cattle or anything.
We have a trailer for that. Awesome. I guess just to close the loop, we will do a final approve the now amended original motion, which is actually very much the amended motion, but all those in favor of approving, there you go. Awesome. And Shalana will be like, what the heck? Okay. And then we'll follow up with, we'll have some additional report in the future about the box truck. Or do you want to make a separate motion about the box truck? You don't have to make a motion tonight. We can include that in future discussion items when they have an opportunity to go and look what's available.
So without a motion, what the district staff is hearing is do the research, get bids, come back with more information. Because one of the things that the board may or may not be aware of, the presentation that was the packet that was presented to you was 20 hours of work and research. So we'd start there, and we'd also start at the funding source to figure out where the funds would come from, and then we could report back to you guys. So we would need a motion for that.
You would need?
Would not.
Oh, good. Whew. I'm motioned out. Okay, awesome. Next. Good gravy.
Mr. Brown, thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Please go
thank
home.
you. Bravo, bravo.
Don't stand by the boiler.
You might need to start it again. Oh, everybody's favorite, resolution number 1 gets to get updated.
This will be the easiest update to resolution 1 we've ever done. So remember, statutorily, we present at the beginning of every school year resolution 1 for approval, which really just spells out lunch prices, athletic prices, but also probably most importantly, who handles money, who has access to credit cards, things like that. What we're requesting is to update this. First, we have to update it because Miss Shalana Harrison is no longer known as Miss Shalana Harrison. She's now Mrs. Shalana Clark. So we would like to reflect that so she can legally change her name. Congratulations again, publicly. And then the second one, we realized that one department does not have a credit card, which makes it really difficult for the facility team to make purchases when they have to run a district office to borrow either my or Shalana Clark's credit card. So we'd like to add the facilities to that as well, which is indicated on Resolution 1. So we're just asking for your approval on the revised Resolution 1.
Go for it.
Okay. I make a motion to approve the updated 2023 to 2024 Rainier School District Resolution Number 1.
I'll second it.
Any questions? None? Excellent. All those in favor of approving the revised agenda number 1? Excellent. No opposed? Resolution number 1, sorry. Okay. Committee appointments. Now we're going back to that confusing other dates page. Dr. Hedrick?
You bet. Actually, I would probably revise what I currently or previously thought about. So we were going to talk about signing up to be part of the certified bargaining committee that will commence this spring, classified bargaining committee, and policy committee. Knowing that our next agenda item is to consider new board members, I would be okay holding off on bargaining, but I think we should talk about policy and who would like to be part of the policy committee. So if it pleases the board, I'd like to only consider policy committee at this time.
This time meaning tonight, or this
Correct.
time meaning?
This time tonight.
Okay. Yeah, only policy.
So really, I'm looking for 3.
Yeah. So are there board members that are interested in serving on the policy committee? You get to read this whole book right here. Recommend changes. Oh, it's not that bad.
But she's not kidding.
Yeah, no, it's true. And we're subscribed to a service from OSBA, and we're supposed to get, and I underline supposed to get, because I don't think we got any last year. 1. And so they send us, this might be interesting for the public to know too. So they send us the policies, and there is things that we have to change, things that are recommended, and things that we get to pick and choose. And they include it in brackets, they italicize it, so they basically tell us what we can use and what we can't use, or where we have flexibility. And it's based on legal opinions, it's based on changes in state law. OSBA's job is to kind of keep us on the straight and narrow. And so that's what their policy work does. Occasionally we've had folks from OSBA come down and work with us on updating our policy manuals. And it's always kind of interesting because a lot of this stuff sits in here and we never look at it. And then you start reading and you're like, what? So I find it to be a really interesting committee to serve on, and I would like to continue serving, but I would love it if 2 more of you would join us. I know, it's like watching paint dry, but I'm kidding. No. Excellent. Eric and...
He just said he has nothing to do ever.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yes, I'll do it.
Oh, you're such a pushover.
Oh, great reading.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Did we ever find out why we weren't getting?
It went to my spam
Oh.
for some weird reason, even though I'm subscribed.
So please check your new email to make sure there's no new spam.
Yeah, we'll have to get approval. So we need a motion to approve Mr. Weaver, Mr. Schimmel, and myself as the policy committee members for this year.
I make a motion to approve Dr. Placido, Mr. Schimmel, and Mr. Weaver to our policy committee for this year.
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor of approving the policy committee members, raise your hand. All those opposed?
I find it interesting that the non-policy committee members made the motion in the second, huh?
Yeah. Okay, well, hate to tell you, but the motion carried. It's not that bad. You will learn a lot. It's quite interesting. And they are public meetings, so anybody can come. If you just find the idea of going and reading the things in this book riveting, please join us.
Do a lot better with pizza.
Ooh, there you go. Did you hear that?
I heard it.
Pizza.
Noted.
Okay, so now we are moving into our final board item for board action, and that is the board member application, interview, and appointment. And I already went over what our process is gonna be. So we're gonna invite our 2 candidates up one at a time to introduce themselves and provide some sort of statement to the board. I'm not going to give you a time limit because I'm assuming by this time of night, nobody wants to sit up there and talk for half an hour, right? So I guess we'll start with Mr. Worrell.
Thank you, Dr. Placido. Board members, Dr. Placido, Dr. Hattrick, Mrs. Clark, community members. When I looked at the Rainier website this summer and saw that there was a vacancy on the board, I was so excited, and it had never, ever occurred to me to do it. But I have been an educator all my professional career, a school teacher and counselor, and when I see well, to me, a community is about its kids, because the kids are the community. We're getting older, they're coming up, it's wonderful, it's exciting. And to be part of a board whose job is to set policy and hire the superintendent and monitor the superintendent and be responsible to the district, I thought, wow, that's something I'd like to do. I never ever wanted to run, try and get elected to a school board. That never grabbed me. But when I saw that there was this vacancy open, I thought I want to give it my best shot. When I see the big picture and the little picture, big picture like boiler and a box truck, and then I see the minutia of, well, should we do this motion? It's like you guys can see it, the big picture, the small picture, and it's all about the kids, keeping them warm, keeping them safely transported. And so I would love to be a part of this board and fill out the term. I think that's about it. No, wait, one other thing. Andrew Demko is someone who showed me the inside of this district when I started volunteering for the History Bowl and becoming a part of that. It's like, whoa. I drive past here. We live 10 minutes up in the hills that way, and I come past here almost every day to go into town. And so I stop in for fundraisers or things like that. But then the History Bowl got me really interested in being more a part of this school, different fundraisers. And as a school counselor, there was recently a call for community people to come in and help students process a loss. And my wife, also a school counselor, and I came in to be part of that. And I just felt like more and more a part of this community. And I think that's it. What questions, or does the questions come later? Or?
I think, what's the pleasure of the board? We can hear from our second candidate and call Mr. Worrell back up. I'm getting a nod on that one. So, Mr. Worrell, thank you very much for introducing yourself to us. And we will hear from our second candidate, and then we'll bring you back up for questions. So, our second candidate is Adam, oh my goodness, Zitniowski? Oh, did I do it?
It's a little bit
Close?
but it's all right.
Okay. I'm a Placido. I'm used to having names.
This is an outfit. Well, first off, I didn't think I would be running against a teacher that I had in school. And some of you may know me, a lot of you probably not. I'm probably not your typical board member also. I would have a lot to learn. I would have a lot of research, but I'm ready to put in the time. And I've lived in this community since I was 7 years old. I went through the Rainier Elementary School before it was shut down, the Fox Trails with Mr. Whipple going through there, middle school when we had a huge earthquake and we deemed it unsafe and sold that. I have been in and out of this community for a long time. I moved back here recently. I have 2 children in the district, and I have seen a lot of change and some things that haven't changed over the years since I've graduated. I was in sports. I've been involved with a lot of community outreach programs, and I see a lot that we can do together. It's not something that I want to come in and change all your policies, but I'd like to work with you directly, partner up, and see what we can do to reach out to the community, get them involved, and see what changes we can do. I am in construction, and there are a lot of building maintenance that I'd like to see changed, and I think I could help out with a lot of that. And yeah, I hope you consider me. So,
Thank you. And say your name for me one more time.
Adam Zanowski.
Zanowski. Okay,
Yeah.
so we don't say the T.
Yep, it's silent.
Perfect. Okay. Awesome. So, Mr. Zanowski, we will start with Mr. Worrell.
Okay.
And we'll go around the horn and let everybody ask their questions, and then we'll call you back up. So, do I have a board member who's just itching to go first? Miss Richardson, you've just stepped into the front of the order.
Mr. Worrell, how long were you a court-appointed special advocate?
We're just about on our 1-year anniversary of that.
Miss Usher?
If you could change one thing at the Rainier School District, what would it be?
It would be to fix the posts that hold the looping cable so that visitors' first impression of this place is an upstanding impression. I hope that doesn't sound too petty, but you know, we are the voters here. Okay.
Mr. Schimmel?
The reason I got on the board was I felt, you know, I got a passion for the community, passion for the kids, passion for the school that I've had my whole life, and I felt like it was my time to serve and use that passion. And what kind of connections specifically, like, do you feel like you're what's behind your passion as far as this school district? If you can say, think of something specific, whether it's connection with teachers, students. Obviously, you don't have any kids in the school now, but we're obviously here willing. So you've kind of started talking about.
When I run for the school board, I had a lot of concern about learning and the gaps in learning, and that was prior to COVID.
Yeah.
And so I see on your application that that you're interested in student achievement and increasing their success. Can you elaborate on that a little bit for me, please?
Yeah. Oh, geez. Don't ask a teacher to do that or we'll talk and talk, but you don't. Teaching to the test is really a crummy way to teach someone. Teaching them how to think is a lot better. A lot of foundational stuff is important. I mean, I don't know if today you have to memorize the multiplication tables in 3rd grade like we used to, but man, it sure helps and speeds things along. Not that I would say, oh, we're going to put multiplication tables back in kids' heads, but there's some foundational stuff in mathematics, in science, in humanities, in geography, in social studies, in art, in music, and PE, some foundational stuff that if you can get that, then you can build and go further. But if kids are moved quickly through that, or it's glossed over, or they have to do it remotely like they did during COVID, it's hard to go higher when you don't have that kind of a scaffolding to climb on.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Weaver?
Okay.
I don't like those.
Okay.
Okay, this is, I even had to write this down so I can make sure I didn't mess this up. What are you
Okay.
gonna say to the person who says to you, you backdoored your way into the school board by not being elected?
That's a great question. I'd say I saw on the website that there's a vacancy, and I'm not interested in running to be a full 4-year board member, but here's a chance to get in and do something while I can, and then at the end of that term, I have no interest in running, but just to fill this time, do what I can in this time.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. And I wouldn't haul cattle for the district either.
So tonight was really refreshing. We ran out of chairs in our little gallery out here.
Is this typical?
No, it's
Okay.
absolutely not
I
typical.
think it's great.
So I'm kind of curious. We see the most people when we've done something wrong. When people are angry, we see the most people.
Yeah.
And we don't really even see that very often. Usually people take their complaints to Facebook or social
ow.
media. So I'm kind of curious, how would you try to increase public engagement between the school board and the community that we live in and serve?
I think I would go to people who are already doing it. I would say Dr. Hattrick and Chamber of Commerce. That's not something that I'm a real expert in, so I think I'd say, hey, who knows about this? Kind of a weak answer, but it's not an area I'm really strong in.
It's a fair answer. I mean, I think as a board member, sometimes it's scary when we see a lot of people out there because it's like, oh gosh, are they going to get mad at us? But
Well,
it's kind of refreshing to.
PR is important
Yes.
because how you guys are perceived, rightly or wrongly, influences how people vote, which influences how kids learn.
Yep.
So it's an important job. It's just not one that I have a lot of expertise in, but I'm a good learner.
Good. Good. Any other questions, board members, for Mr. Worrell? Nope. Mr. Oh my goodness, Ziniowski? Ms. Richardson, would you like to lead us off again?
Mr. Zanowski,
Yeah.
what is your construction background? What kind of construction do you do? I guess that's 2 questions.
So I own a glass company, and we do residential and commercial glass. But at the same time, I just built my house off of Wonderly down the road. So I kind of dabble in all construction. And it's been about 7 years now.
Ms. Usher?
I'm just gonna go with the same question. If you could change one thing at the Rainier School District, what would it be?
I mean, I grew up going into that pool all the time. My kids have parties there, athletics, have end of year celebrations, and when I go in there and I see, as a glass guy, the glass falling out, rusting frames, it really gets to me, and I'd really like to see a change in that. And me personally, I know how to get that done quickly and inexpensive, so I'd like to see a change in that first.
Good. Mr. Schimmel?
Similar question to our other candidate. As far as your purpose, obviously you've got younger kids in the district. You have longevity potentially
Yeah.
to serve,
Mhm.
but and your time to give. How do you think that will help you as far as possibly your connections with staff, because you're in here day to day, possibly. Just kind of, what are your thoughts as far as like your connection with the school and how that benefits you?
Well, I'd say I'm very invested in Rainier and the school district as alumni, and having children, like you said, in this. I have a good connection with some of the previous teachers that I've stayed in contact, and hoping to get a better connection with some of the other staff members that are here now. I think that because I'm invested from my family, friends, and the community, which I'd like to see grow and get stronger, that I'm really willing to put in the time and keep pushing for that to succeed, the program to succeed.
Thank you. Ms. Hendricks?
My question is similar, or the same to him as Mr.
Worrell.
Worrell. Anyway, how do you see the school district and part of academics and the gap, and as board members, how we go about closing that gap and be supportive of teachers and
So, closing the gap, to be honest, I don't know, other than my children's academics, what they're teaching, and I'd like to be more involved with that. I think that a connection with our students and our teachers is something I want to get involved with, but at this time, it's something that I would have to research more into.
Thank you. Mr. Weaver?
There it goes. I'm not gonna ask you the same question. I just say that I am thrilled that a young person, I can't ask you your age, because that's, I asked Dr. Hedrick his age, he would tell me either, so. Anyway, so the deal is, I'm proud of young people stepping up, because, there's probably, I don't know, how many students in the district, 833. With all these parents that are out there, and you stepped up, I think that's awesome. I really do, because it's just so easy to complain and go on to FB, but you're standing here, and I admire that. That's impressive.
Thank you.
You know, you want to get in there and get your hands dirty. I like that. There's no look, two people. It's just, it's kind of sad, but it's impressive right there for me. That's all I got.
Thank you, Mr. Weaver. So different question for you. My daughter graduated last year, so now I don't have a child in school here anymore.
Sure.
Which I actually think is going to make my job a little easier.
Yeah.
I think one of the most challenging things about being a board member is when we're considering things that parents are really invested in, and that maybe the board doesn't have a position on yet.
Sure.
Maybe there's a complaint or something, or some drama or something that's happening,
Yeah.
and we're staying away so that maybe it can come to us in case it comes to us eventually.
Right.
Because it has to go through a process. Or people just not understanding the role of the board. How do you feel about working with your peers, other parents of school-age kids, and helping them to understand the role of the board, or kind of navigate
Sure.
the policies that we have to work within?
So I'm pretty comfortable with working with my peers. I went to Oregon State and graduated there with a communications degree. And then I went to be, I worked with a company called Colliers. They're a public relations company. And I was the liaison working with the community and some of the local commissioners on policies and questions that needed to be answered. And so one of the things is I work well with others. Also, I'm a project manager as an owner of my company, and I have to work through a lot of questions, concerns, hard situations every day. So I'm pretty comfortable with that, and I work through well with others.
Good, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Board members, any other questions? Nope. Okay, so I'm gonna take like a 5-minute break. Come back at 8:20. Don't chat with each other about what you think. Just take some time to, think about it in your head. Run around outside, run to the restroom, get a drink of water, whatever you need to do, and then we'll come back and deliberate and vote. Okay?
Nick, are you keeping the feed up? Are you keeping the live feed up?
So now we can square dance and they can watch us.
Let's do it.
No.
Remember, my dad was a square dancer. We could do that. I am trying to remember. Boy, text message that, by the way, that's what there's down.
Oh. Really?
He knew as soon as he left, that's where he was.
Wait, I'm so excited.
Yeah, right.
What's going on? We're out here.
Well, I guess we should have a lot of people. I thought we were about some other avenue to discuss.
Okay, I was like, maybe I didn't go through.
No, she did.
But I've only got a few quarters.
Where do you think you're going?
I didn't want to say that. I should have said
Yeah, well, I don't know that it's really by choice for them. They went to the volleyball game, and my husband's out of town, so
Oh, so they're
the
here
deal
for
was,
keys.
yeah.
Well, she can't drive alone yet, but.
Yeah, Lily will be 16 in January.
Oh,
That'll be kind of nice.
I would say keep off the sidewalk over right here, so. Cool.
I appreciate you applying for it too.
It's been a Monday.
Yeah, Mr. Williams said it's been a Monday and he's ready for Friday.
Strong start to the week.
I was at the board meeting when they were talking about on.
How was the game?
It was good. We won all 3 sets.
Oh, good.
So, and we definitely made the other team mad. So it was worth it.
Who were you? Who were the
Riverdale.
Oh, Riverdale.
We would mess with them and yell at random stuff at them. They got all angry and really all mad at us.
Well, you gotta be careful with that.
But Miller didn't yell at us, so it's okay.
Yeah, we can. Oh, okay. Oh, do you? Yeah. We're still continuing on it right now. We just have bare land with our house and background and everything. But we actually just had our vows for our 10 years. We just did Friday. Yeah.
Back to order. Oh, never mind. Let's give it one more minute. Now we're back in order. Thank you for that quick break and return, everybody. So deliberation, board members, it is up to you. Would you guys like to chat about what we've heard a little bit, or are you ready to call the vote? I mean, personally, I thought I was really impressed with both candidates. Yeah. Do we have 2 seats available by any chance?
Only one.
Uh-oh.
We're good.
Oh.
Only one.
Whew. Looked like we were worried there for something.
Yeah, we're okay.
Sorry. So both candidates put together really great applications and provided us, I think, a really tough choice. Yeah. So thank you both. I appreciate you for being interested. Board members, Ms. Richardson?
I have one question.
Okay.
Regarding their addresses, are they in the zone that we're?
It doesn't matter.
I understand that. I'm talking about for subsequent, like, this is filling the gap, this is what this is. Filling the space, and it doesn't matter addresses at this point.
Yep, doesn't matter.
Thank you.
Do you have any further clarifying information?
I was just going to share that, yes, so this is a temporary appointment for either, because when their term is up, it would open to people in Zone 4. That make sense?
How long is the term then that they're filling?
We'll confirm. In years past, it's been only until the next election, and I believe that's the case.
How, did Noel did we swear him back in this year? I'm so sorry, I was
Yes.
trying to remember so I had an idea of, like, thank you.
Yeah, like one meeting before you resigned. Yeah, and so we have another election this coming up spring? Yeah. No.
No, it wouldn't be the full term. It'd be a partial.
How long until the election in the spring? That's the part I want to get.
So this, because it's a vacancy filled, and correct me if I'm wrong while I'm talking, or after or during, it would have to be, the next time an election goes to the voters, it would have to be considered at that time. So it's a temporary fill. You're looking at vacancies of the board policy,
Yep.
correct? Beautiful. So Shalana says 2025, and she's the one that works directly with the elections office.
Yeah, so 2 years. I think that's what Noel started at, was 2 years? Okay. That's better than going through all this for like 6 months or something.
Yeah.
Okay. Other questions, thoughts from board members? Appreciation to the candidates? Anything? Mr. Schimmel?
Yeah, thank you. It's obviously 2 great candidates coming from 2 different perspectives, which is great, but also difficult to decide. Can I ask a question? Not to put you on the spot or anything, but would either or both of you be willing to like serve on committees, whether you get this appointment or not, like as far as advisory committees for the superintendent or whatnot. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and so there's facilities.
I've already signed them both up for all of them, so
Oh,
we're good.
perfect. So you show a little bit of interest and you're like suckered in. Yep, there. Yep. Other board members, Mr. Weaver, any questions, thoughts? Miss Usher? No?
Thank you for being here.
Miss Hendricks? Oh my goodness. Okay, so are you guys ready for a vote? Yes, we'll take them one at a time. So if you're voting for Mr. Worrell, can I get a show of hands, please? Mr. Worrell? Anybody? Okay. And Mr. Zentowski? Zanowski. Zanowski. Okay. Did I say that right? It only took me 27 times, and I'll get it wrong the 28th time. All those voting for Mr. Zanowski, raise your hand. Okay. Okay. We're missing, did you vote for Mr. Worrell?
No.
Okay. All those
I'm gonna
abstaining?
abstain,
Okay, and what's your reason for abstaining?
for personal reasons.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so it looks like we have a vote, 5 members voting for Mr. Zanowski. I said it right, correct? And 1 abstention. Everybody in agreement? Okay. Mr. Worrell, thank you very much. We look forward to seeing you on every activity that we have going on.
Not the one with the 3 inches of manual.
Yeah, oh, yes, the policy committee, yes. Here you go, right here. But we had the budget committee and facilities and safety, and I know we'll see you at Rainier Revisited. Probably. Oh, History Bowl. Oh, History Bee. Excellent. Mr. Zanowski, would you like to come forward and have the oath of office? Oh. Okay, Mr. Zanowski, you can put your clipboard down. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Adam Zanowski,
I, Adam Zanowski,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States.
the Constitution of the State of Oregon, and the laws thereof,
Say that again.
the Constitution of the State of Oregon and the laws thereof, the Constitution of the State of Oregon
Constitution of the State of Oregon
and the laws thereof,
and the laws thereof,
and the policies of the Rainier School District.
and the policies of the Rainier School District.
During my term,
During my term,
I will faithfully and impartially discharge,
I will faithfully and
impartially,
discharge
the responsibilities of the office of school board member,
the responsibilities
of the office
of the office
of school board member
of school board member
to the best of my ability.
to my best of my ability.
Excellent. Welcome aboard.
Thanks.
Yep.
A little nerve-wracking.
Oh, that's okay. And you have to go to the I think elections office or the clerk's office and like sign the official one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Have fun
Do I
with
have to say it again?
it. I think
In front
so.
of everybody?
Yeah. No. Oh my gosh, you guys. I think we almost made it through the agenda. Okay. Future agenda items. I think we heard a couple things tonight that we'll hear about again in the future. And I'm trying to remember what those were.
Liability waiver.
Yep, liability waiver and fee waiver and the box truck. Perfect. Great. Board comments, board members, Mr. Weaver? No comment? Ms. Richardson?
To both Mr. Zanowski and Mr. Worrell, thank you both so much. Just for coming in and offering to serve. It was a very tough decision between you both. Thank you very much. And to our maintenance team, hearing about you guys, our maintenance team staying here to continuously restart the boiler, finding out that they were sleeping in their cars. And that is something that most of the community may not know, because nobody's going to complain unless it doesn't work. So thank you so much for going above and beyond to keep our students comfortable and warm at the sacrifice of your own comfort. Thank you.
Ms. Usher?
I just have a comment about my recent Washington D.C. trip. We went in back in June, so it wasn't a few months ago, but I had the privilege of chaperoning the Washington D.C. educational trip in June. We had a wonderful trip filled with tons of sightseeing and learning opportunities. And I just want to thank you to everybody that sponsored this trip, and Mr. Demko and Ms. Stout for planning and making it possible for our students to go. The trip was a great experience, and I recommend anyone who hasn't been able to go consider signing up for the 2025 trip. But yeah, it's a lot of.
Mr. Schimmel?
No, I just appreciate all the reports from the admin. It's very informative. I feel as a board member, I really take value in that, so that's great. I also want to make mention that we did have a program, the cheerleaders represented at the East-West Shriners for the Shriners Hospital East-West football game. We had our coaches representing our school, leading the West, and we had 3 cheerleaders on that team as well. So I just wanted everybody to know that Rainier was represented in that game. And do you know exactly how much you guys fundraise?
It was the most ever raised. It was just the cheerleaders alone raised, I think, over $17,000 for the shrine.
Yeah. So. Good job. Yeah. So I think it's always great to share when our students or our athletes represent our school in a great way. So.
Ms. Hendricks?
I want to thank all those teachers who took the time to do summer school this year. I thought it was absolutely amazing, and I had a child participating in it, and you know, those guys did a great job trying to help close that learning gap, and I very much appreciate them, and I want to thank them for taking their time to do that. I also want to thank the 2 applicants that applied for the school board position. And like Eric or somebody said, we have a lot of subcommittees out there, and I would encourage both people to get involved, even those here in the audience. It's hard to find people willing to volunteer their time. And I look forward to working with the new board member. I'm glad to see that they're doing a high school and junior high student of the month. I think that going from the grade school, I think it's important to give kids that special recognition. And I want to congratulate Miss Shalana.
So I'll lead again with my thanks to Mr. Worrell and Mr. Zaniewski for Zanowski. I keep wanting to add extra letters. Oh my gosh. So I appreciate both of you taking the time and applying for the position. And I look forward to working with both of you in one way or the other over the next couple years. So I had the honor of attending the back to school event with the teachers on Thursday morning a couple weeks
District
ago.
kickoff.
District kickoff. That thing, the back to school thing. And I didn't really know what to expect. And it was super cool. So Dr. Sanderlin was this absolutely wonderful, motivating, inspiring person who joined us on Zoom. And oh my gosh, I mean, you hear Zoom and you just like start cringing, you know, your soul dies a little bit more. But she like came through, it was awesome. She made people, I mean, she got me off to a really good start. So it was fantastic. It felt like the energy that she brought to that event, just this like super positive, we will win, you know, our students will be successful, this, you know, we're all here for the same reason. That kind of energy and positivity is kind of infusing the beginning of the school year. You know, Mr. Williams said it perfectly. There are great kids in Rainier. Ms. Keplinger talked about her kindness initiatives and having the student of the month all the way through, all the grades, the whole district. I mean, it's really fantastic. It feels like we're starting on a different foot. We're actually starting here, which is lovely. So I'm very, very excited about what the year holds. So I'm looking forward to doing this work with all of you this year. And I have nothing else. So next board meeting is October 9th. Then we have a board work session on October 23rd. Are we forgetting anything else that board members need to be aware of? It's the 30th?
I have it wrong on our agenda.
Oh, okay, so it's October 30th is our next work session. So
session.
don't look at the date on your agenda. It's October, it's the 30th.
Now that it's approved, I will send calendar invites. It'll be on the calendar invite.
Okay, I would love to have a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Assuming there are no problems with that, yeah, I will approve that by unanimous consent. Everybody take off.